What's up, Strike Team? Welcome back to another episode of Strike Team Official. And today we are going to be going over the most influential living karate practitioners. Now note, I said living. That means you're not going to hear Anko Otosu or Genshin Funakoshi or Masayama on this list. Okay, and I also understand that most influential is a very difficult metric. Okay, there's going to be a lot of different opinions on who is the most influential karate practitioner based on your style and what you're looking for. So in order to kind of make this list not be like 50 people long, I'm going to take each influential person and give them a category that they specialize in. All right. So, and again, if you disagree, I'm sorry, I'm one guy, but please put your own opinion down here in the comment if you think I'm missing somebody. Okay. So let's start this thing off with the most influential karate historian or karate scholar. And this is a fun one for me because it's a personal friend, Hansi Patrick McCarthy. Hansi Patrick McCarthy is a karate historian, scholar, and translator. This guy has gone out, compiled tons of ancient Japanese and Chinese manuscripts and, news articles and books and interviews, and translated them, compiled and translated them into, readable English versions for all of us in the rest of the world, especially out here in the West where English is a very common language. Okay, and it's allowed the history of karate and this knowledge of karate to really spread out of Japan. He has a very, very large collection of works. I have a couple here in my library, actually. This is one of his, Motobuchoki Karate My Art. This is one that was translated by him and his wife. I have another one that I'm actually reading right now, Legend of the Fist. I'm about halfway through this one. Here's another one. I have a bunch. Okay. He actually signed these for me back when I got it from him. All these. And here's one too. This is probably his most influential work, is the Bubishi, also known as the Bible of Karate. And what he did is he went out to all these different karate experts and masters and got their versions of their Bubishi, their manuals, and pretty much compiled it into lessons on medicine, pressure points, kata application, history. There's so much stuff in this that this is an absolute must-read for any serious karate practitioner. Right, and this is definitely his most famous work, is his translation of the Bubishi. And so he's just, there's loads of books that he's been able to give out to all of us out here. He's also on a lot of online karate blogs about karate history and culture, where he's constantly out there talking and writing articles for people to read and learn more. He is also the founding director of the International Ryukyu Karate Research Society, where, he gets together with other people who are passionate about karate to research the subject and get that information out to the rest of the world. And so for that reason, I think that Hansi Patrick McCarthy is the most influential historian and scholar within the karate world that is alive today. However, I do want to give a quick, let me find this guy. I don't want to mispronounce his name. I want to give a quick, honorable mention to Tetsuhiro Hokama, okay, who is another legendary karate practitioner and author, but the only problem is all of his works, minus I think one, are only in Japanese, which really limits its spread. Japanese is primarily just spoken in Japan. English is spoken all over the place, and it's also a lot easier to get something translated from English to any other language you want, which is why I'm putting Patrick McCarthy ahead of him. It's simply, translations. And so for that, like I said, Patrick McCarthy, for historian, for scholar, is number one. All right, so the next category we're going to look at is who is the most influential karate full contact fighter. So this is somebody who's shown that karate can work, in a real situation, balls to the walls against another competitive athlete, another martial artist, karate can dominate. And I think if you know anything about karate, this one's pretty obvious. It's going to be Leota the Dragon Machida. Now, for those of you guys who don't know, Leota the Dragon Machida is It was the UFC light heavyweight champion and the first karate practitioner to really dominate in MMA. Okay, he came out and his movement and style were so difficult for people to handle that he was just lighting everybody up and started out going on an absolute tear. Okay, he's a third degree black belt in Shotokan karate, where he learned from his own father, Yoshizo Machida, who I believe is actually the head of the Japanese Karate Association in Brazil. So his dad runs the association. He learned from his father. And he goes in, you see him in his fights, and he moves like a karate guy. He moves like a Shotokan guy. So he's very much a karate practitioner in MMA. And since he was so dominant, him and his family they've actually made their own style called Machida karate, which is pretty much Shotokan karate, but focused on fighting for competitions like karate combat and MMA style fights, right? And so they've really taken that and really made it their own. And it was really because of Machida that karate started getting that respect again after the UFC was made. And so, we always got to give our love and respect to the Machida family in general, because, honorable mention out there, his older brother's also fighting. A bunch of his students are also fighting in MMA all over the place at very high levels. So definitely got to give a shout out to Leota the Dragon Machida. All right, so our next category is going to be the practical application of karate techniques. Now, that's going to be a little funny, seeing as I just called out Leota Machida as being the best karate fighter and creating a style all based around cage fighting. However, cage fighting is not the original purpose of karate. The original purpose of karate is a mixture of self-defense and bodyguard, police officer type activities, not cage fighting. And these are very different situations, right? A police officer, while they might end up in a situation that might look like an MMA fight, a lot of the times a bouncer or a police officer, even self-defense, looks very different than a cage fight. And for that reason, I've separated these two categories. Now, the most influential guy for this, I think this is also a relatively easy call, is Ian Abernathy. He's out of the UK. He's a 7th Dan. I believe he started with Wadaru, but at this point, he doesn't really claim a style of karate because he dabbles in everything, right? And this guy pretty much started looking at the historical applications of kata. The way kata would have been looked at before, the early 20s, where it became much more cultural and art focused and less martial focused over in Japan and Okinawa, and really looking at how karate was viewed before and trying to delve into the kata and decode them, right? And he has done this for many, many years, and now he's traveled all around the world doing seminars, teaching about kata application. He's written DVDs, he's written books, he even has an app online, right? This is actually the guy that, seeing his stuff, let me recognize that I could expand my own karate, right? You guys know I am a competitive Muay Thai fighter and a competitive kickboxer, and I was messing around with some kata and was like, I see applications in this that we're not using. I see things in this that can be used in these maybe more practical ways than the way we're doing with this 3-step bankai and stuff like that, or 3-step kumite. And after looking online, I ended up running into some people connected to Leota Machida that were doing practical stuff. But then I found Ian, and Ian was like a eye-opener, right? And then as I get more knowledgeable on it, I find out Ian is like the guy for everybody. Everyone goes to Ian for practical karate information. He's that dude. And just because of the amount of stuff he has online, the amount of people that has viewed his stuff, and how he's easily able to pack out seminars all over the world teaching practical application, I'm going to have to give him the nod as the most influential person for practical applications of traditional Okinawan karate. Which, again, I just want to call this out because I know someone in the comments is going to be mad. I also talked about Patrick McCarthy, and I gave him the title of historian, but he's also huge for practical kata application, right? So a lot of these things will overlap, like Leota Machida knows them too. I understand these are overlapping things, but I'm just going to give everyone credit for the thing they're most known for, like their number one thing, right? So everyone's not overlapping over everybody. For that reason, I am giving Ian Abernathy the title of the most influential person for practical karate applications. Oh, and I also want to give one more honorable mention to myself. I am like nowhere near as influential as anybody on this list, but hopefully in like 10 years, I'll be on it too. Okay, so for this next one, I'm going to talk about who is the most influential person for karate when it comes to the media and for advertising it and pushing it out to the entire world on the big screen. This is a big deal because the old movie craze of like the 80s and the 70s and stuff really pushed karate to like the forefront of people's minds in a way that had never happened before. And for this, I think it's really, really clear there's only one possible option. It's the legend himself, Chuck Norris. Okay, now, Chuck Norris is a master of multiple martial arts systems. Okay, his most prevalent is actually Tang Sudo, which I know is Korean, but it literally just stands for Korean karate. It's just karate done in Korea. Okay, and he's a 10th degree black belt. But he also is trained in Shitoru and Shotokan. And I believe he's a 5th dan in both of those, I think. On top of that, he is also the founder of his own system called the Chuck Norris system, also known as a Chunkuk-do. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Where he's obviously a 10th degree because he made it. And on top of that, he's a black belt in Judo and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Okay, dude is super qualified as a martial artist. But more importantly, he is the most famous, one of the most famous action stars of all time. All right, when I looked online, this guy's in at least 26 different movies, not to mention the multiple different TV shows he's in, including Walker, Texas Ranger, which he starred in. This guy is so famous that there's actually something called Chuck Norris facts, okay, which are facts talking about how insanely incredible Chuck Norris is. For example, Chuck Norris doesn't do push-ups. He pushes the earth down, okay? Or Chuck Norris once got bit by a king cobra. And after 10 days of excruciating pain, the cobra died. Okay, like Chuck Norris is that dude. All right, and on top of that, he has his iconic movie fight against the legend Bruce Lee himself. Okay, there are very few people who have done more for karate through the idea of media than Chuck Norris has. And on top of all that, he's also won multiple martial arts awards. He was like a sparring champion, I think 5 times in a row or something like that. The dude is extremely famous and well known for his karate skills. And one of the main reasons people, especially out here in America, started taking up karate is to be like Chuck Norris. And for that reason, we gotta give Chuck Norris the title of the most influential karate practitioner to bring karate into the mainstream media and the big screen. Okay, so for our second to last category, we're gonna be looking at the most influential traditional karate master. Okay, this is someone who embodies what it is to be a traditional karate expert, a traditional karate master, and is really, kind of spreading that tradition out in the world in a multitude of different ways. Okay, so who really embodies that? And for this one, it was actually really, really difficult. There's a lot of really good traditional Japanese masters out there of karate, but and I had to be really careful not to show my own bias. Like, I'm a Weichuru practitioner first. That was my first, really major style, and I'm biased toward like people like Shinjo Sensei. If you know who that is, he's a very famous Weichuru practitioner, possibly the most famous Weichuru practitioner on the planet. However, if I'm trying to not be biased toward my own style, I think I have to give it to Morio Higeona. I hope I'm not mispronouncing his name, but yeah, Morio Higeona. He is a Gojuru 10th degree master. He is one of the most influential people in the world for overall traditional karate practice. He teaches seminars. He has a bunch of YouTube videos out. People come and interview him on a regular basis because his knowledge base is so big. And he teaches everything from, going over kata, going over history, and philosophy to also teaching iron body conditioning and really kind of showing us what a well-rounded Okinawan master really kind of looks like in those older years, and giving the values of traditional karate out to the rest of the world. I'm pretty sure he is the most viewed and most famous guy for that, specifically if you look on YouTube or something like that. However, there would be a lot of honorable mentions if I was going to go through the list. There's so many good and influential old school karate masters, but I definitely think he is the number one guy right now that is still living, just because of the amount of people who watch him online and the variety of different kind of karate information that he gives out to people, the amount of people that have gone out to try to interview him. He's definitely an absolute legend. And getting rid of my Weishidu and Shorin-ryu bias, he is probably the most influential karate practitioner for traditional, Okinawan karate alive today. Okay, so for the final category, we have the most influential karate practitioner, almost encompassing everything, because this particular person does pretty much everything I've talked about so far. But to be the most influential, you have to have the most eyes on you, right? That's part of what being influential is people look to you and what you're doing. And so I would also say that this person is the most influential karate marketer in the world. He markets karate out to a wide audience and gives little bits and pieces of everything. He gives history, he gives culture, he gives traditional Okinawan practice, even connected to other martial arts, does all kinds of great karate marketing, which might make him the single most influential person in the world. But I know some people are going to have a serious problem with me saying that, so we can just call him the most influential karate marketer in the world. And if it's not obvious by now, it's Jesse Encamp, okay, the karate nerd himself. Okay, this guy has one of not just the single biggest karate YouTube channel, but he also has one of the biggest martial arts YouTube channels, period, on YouTube. Okay, he also does seminars all over the world, and at his seminars, he'll call in experts like Ian Abernathy, like Patrick McCarthy. He'll go out and do interviews and make videos with Leota Machida. Okay, like he'll go to Okinawa and do videos with all the ancient Okinawan masters, right? And so pretty much what he does is he is spreading all this information from these guys who are older and maybe more knowledgeable than him, but he's the one getting it out to you. He's the one marketing it to you and sharing it and spreading it in huge ways. And he has surrounded himself by a lot of high-level karate practitioners to really have a place where you can go out and get karate knowledge, right? So for the most influential person throughout all of karate, you could say karate marketing, I would say is definitely Jesse Encamp for those reasons. Again, hopefully one day I'll find myself on this list. Got to have lofty goals, but right now I'm not there yet. But I'm trying. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed my video on the most influential living karate practitioners. Here on my channel, we do all kinds of videos. We do stuff like this. We do history. We do traditional bunkai application and karate for sport and all kinds of stuff, okay? Like I said, I'm trying to really spread that karate knowledge as well. So please remember to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you want to go on Instagram, okay, feel free to find us on Instagram. We have Strike Team Official for this page. I also have my personal Instagram, Leo the Striker, with a Y, spelled the way I spell striker for this channel. So please, guys, follow, subscribe, all that nice stuff. And I'll see you next time. Peace.